If you aren't excited, get excited. Check your pulse because you might be dead.
It's the motherfucking playoffs!
The Arizona Diamondbacks are playing in their first playoff game in 6 years in about 27 minutes. And you welcome in to this edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast, a pregame playoff edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of PHNX. This man next to me is in charge of all the lights around this joint. It's Mr. Electricity himself. It's Shawn.
It's the motherfucking Yoffs!
And of course, we're joined by Jesse Jr. Because the actual Jesse is not here right now. He is in Milwaukee still, of course, and he will be bringing us updates post-game from this very game that we are previewing right now. But are you ready?
Where would you rather
pumped
be
for it?
than right here?
Nowhere.
Right now.
Maybe in Milwaukee. Maybe in Milwaukee.
Maybe
maybe they're watching the game in
Where would
person
you
like
rather
Jesse
be
is.
outside of Milwaukee than right here?
Then right here.
Right now.
Right here. Alive.
Yoffs, dog.
And man, it's exciting. It really is.
Yoffs!
Oh, by the way, before we move on, can we get a camera on Damon? We need Damon Dog on camera. Damon Dog, can you put yourself on camera, please? Let's go right now.
Just fucking walk up here.
Just get your ass over here and show off this beautiful fucking playoff stash that Damon's dog. Look at these stashes. These are playoff stashes, folks.
Yeah.
This is a team united.
Get on the wagon or get
on
run over.
the wagon or, don't look like us. I mean, I don't know. But I will say this is very exciting. And I know one person who's not nearly as excited as he should be, and that's Brandon Pfaadt. Because Brandon Pfaadt is very even-keeled, and he is a great choice for that trait to be on the mound today for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I know that brings a lot of anxiety to Diamondbacks fans, and rightfully so, right? We don't know which Brandon Pfaadt we're going to get. We don't know which Corbin Burns the Brewers are going to get against the Diamondbacks. But hopefully we'll see that Brandon Pfaadt that has shoved several times this year, because I feel like deep down inside, that really is the pitcher who he is, right?
Yeah, I mean, Derek or Damon says it all the time. Brandon Pfaadt's a savage, and we need Pfaadt mode or savage mode for Brandon Pfaadt if the D-backs want a chance to win Game 1.
Absolutely.
I mean, something that I think you brought up, maybe Jesse brought up on one of the shows last week, but Jesse, or when he got sent down earlier in the year, Corey told him he was going to pitch big games for this team later on in the year, and now he's pitching the biggest game of the year.
It really is.
So
biggest game of the year.
It's definitely a moment that he's going to have to, elevate and meet, but shit. Why not?
Why not?
Like, why not?
Why not?
I believe.
Why isn't this his moment
Why
to
not?
shine? Right?
Like everyone, it's a clean slate. Brandon Pfaadt, the playoff ace.
Yeah.
Start the narrative. And it starts tonight.
You brought it up to me before we got on air that when you looked across the board at all the other playoff games, you saw a lot of big names on the mound.
Oh yeah, I think someone's bringing that up. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of Corbin Burns, Sonny Gray,
and then Brandon Pfaadt. But I will say this. There's a lot of, I've been asked about Brandon Pfaadt. I was on a Brewers podcast. I was on ESPN in Tucson. And the one thing I think people wanted to know was why Brandon Pfaadt? And I think that's because they look at the season stats. They don't see a tremendous amount of numbers or stats that jump off the page at you, especially compared to Corbin Burns. And we have those stats for you right here. But there's something that these stats don't stay, right? Obviously, the win-loss record, I mean, that's not even something that we should really care about when it comes to pitching. The ERA, definitely not great, being over 5 there. 1.41 whip versus Corbin Burns, 1.07 whip. And, he had a tremendous amount of starts less than Corbin Burns, but Corbin Burns, 200 strikeouts versus Brandon Pfaadt's 94. The one thing that a lot of these stats don't talk about or tell the story of is how Brandon Pfaadt changed after Brent Strom changed the side of the rubber that he was pitching from. Talked a lot about how that was going to help with his deception and throwing pitches and just going to help with his control. It's also going to help him to prevent him from throwing balls, like kind of resorting to throwing balls right down the middle of the plate and giving up some of those big home runs that we saw him do at times, right? So, I mean, he's still – it's still going to be a tendency. It's still going to be at times right now until he completely works his way out of it and progresses to – I guess his final form, you could say, right? But like in the time being, right, he's still going to make those mistakes because those are his tendencies. But it really does feel like he has become a different pitcher since Strom made those changes.
No, yeah, 100%. And that's like we talk about the positives of it being a 162 game season, but like one of the negatives is that like in a situation like Brandon Pfaadt, the numbers are kind of misleading because he's a much better pitcher now than he was at the beginning of the season when his numbers got a little inflated. But But yeah, I mean, it's still like a somewhat inconsistent pitcher.
Yeah.
But as we kind of talked about yesterday, like if there is an offense for you to kind of have a big game against, it's this one.
It's a good point.
This offense has very little firepower, especially compared to the other teams in the playoffs.
I wonder how this would have changed I know that one of the reasons why Brandon Pfaadt is pitching in this game is just due to options, right? Due to Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly pitching on short roads
to pitch today.
However, I do wonder if it would be different if they were maybe playing Philadelphia. Maybe they wouldn't have that same confidence in Pfaadt against such a power hitting team.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think they would have had much of a choice either way. If it's not Brandon Pfaadt right now, who do you pitch? Because everyone else would have been on short rest, and that's not how they're going to go about that.
Yeah.
So I agree that it's certainly more comfortable having him in the situation in a place like Milwaukee instead of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot how hostile Philadelphia can be. I mean, of course, I'd like to think that he'd be able to rise to the occasion regardless. Like it wouldn't matter. But I'm much happier that he's doing it in Philadelphia.
It looks like Wade Miley may pitch in the series for the Brewers. Would you have preferred that be the matchup versus this? If like obviously Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly not being on, a few days rest, or do you still like the idea of essentially? And again, this is not to undermine Brandon Pfaadt, but obviously the two stars of the starting rotation here are Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, right? Do you feel more comfortable having Brandon Pfaadt go in this first game and then having Merrill Kelly perhaps be there in the deciding game versus switching that around?
I mean, I think so. I think you would hate to. I mean, this is going to sound a little bit like loser talk, so pardon me. But you would hate to like waste a good performance from Merrill or Zach and what could easily end up being a loss if the offense goes ghost against Corbin Burns. Worst case scenario, like you can kind of look at it like, there's a chance this is going to be our hardest game to win regardless. So we might as well throw Pfaadt out there, see what happens. But again, they didn't really have much of a choice. And I do think, like as something I had brought up before, I like the idea of having those guys at the back end of this series to stabilize it if game one were to go really wrong.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I would rather I'd rather Zach be pitching game one and for us to come out buzzing. But with the situation considered, that is kind of the way I'm going to look at it. The silver lining is that we have those what are hopefully very stabilizing forces at the back end of the series. And then if everything goes perfectly and you win the first two, then you have one of your aces pitching in game one of the next series.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we will see how this results. But Corbin Burns, again, even though he really wasn't in, I guess you could say, in the Cy Young talk, he was still quietly having himself a Cy Young quality year up there in Milwaukee, and he continues to just be an excellent pitcher. They are without Brandon Woodruff, like I alluded to, but they just still have very good duo in Freddie Peralta and Corbin Burns. I almost feel like the difference was the Brewers up here and the Diamondbacks here, and like it's the gaps kind of changed a little bit as far as the starting pitching deficit that the Diamondbacks have, but I still feel like the Brewers have the advantage with the guys that they'll be putting out there. And honestly, Wade Miley, old friend. We know Wade Miley has still been able to do things in Major League Baseball, and I know that he's still been a good pitcher himself. So you can't take him lightly. The Diamondbacks have taken certain pitchers lightly, I feel like, or at least maybe we took them lightly, and then we saw the offense kind of disappear against guys. We've seen the offense on this team notoriously make some very mediocre pitchers look very, very good at times, and that's still my concern as far as everything going on this postseason. We're going to talk about here in a moment where the Arizona Diamondbacks obviously are going to get the offense from, but in looking at the starting lineups, the Diamondbacks made some interesting moves. They did submit their starting lineups. Corbin Carroll will be leading off. Ketel Marte will be hitting second. Tommy Pham will be DHing, and he will be hitting third.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you at all?
A little bit.
Is this Torrey spreading the offense around a bit? Because he has Christian Walker hitting fourth, and then Gabby Moreno hitting fifth. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hitting sixth. Alec Thomas hitting seventh. Evan Longoria will be playing third base, and he will be hitting eighth. And then Geraldo Perdomo will be ninth.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this kind of gives you a bit better opportunity to maybe sustain some offensive pressure. Not that this is I'm not hockey, but there's not any part of this lineup that is necessarily going to be the easy part.
Sure.
I don't think so. It is a little surprising. I'm not surprised. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, right? Longoria getting the start at third. This is kind of why you signed a guy like that, especially when you consider what the third base position has been for this team. It's not good. Like you want the guy that's a veteran presence. So like you get to that 7, 8, 9, like Cogs is saying, and it's Alec Thomas who can always be dangerous. Evan Longoria, who's been here for real, or who's been here before, and Geraldo Perdomo, who is just, I mean, he's the risk king. He's always capable of doing something big. So I like this lineup a lot. I think, there's obviously certain names that we wouldn't have been very excited about seeing.
Yeah.
And we didn't see them. So it's at that part's nice. Like I do ultimately think, with all things considered, Longo, what is the choice at third?
Yeah.
Outside of that, you could argue that maybe Lourdes deserves to be higher up in that lineup. Maybe swap spots with Pham, but outside of that, like I don't mind it. I love Gabby being in the heart of that lineup. Yeah. And then you look at the Brewers lineup, and nothing about that scares you, man. Like in my opinion, Michael saying Josh Donaldson, LMFAO. Like, yeah, Josh Donaldson's 80 years old, and he's starting at third base for the. I mean, I guess I can't really talk. So is Evan Longoria, also 80 years old. But I just don't like Josh Donaldson.
100 years of MLB experience between those two players.
At third base tonight.
One thing Jesse brought up last night when we were kind of doing our review of this, or preview of this series, and he was kind of giving us more on the Woodruff situation. The Brewers don't really get credit for how good they've been offensively in the second half. It's kind of been the tale of two teams when it comes to the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. They've just been much better in the second half. They really did make up as far as their run differential or runs behind the Diamondbacks scored. They really caught up to the Diamondbacks in the second half. But a huge part of that has been the acquisition of Mark Canha. And Mark Canha has just been a guy. He has an 800 OPS since coming over. He's not a real power guy, but I mean, slashing 287, 373, 427, and he has been a huge part of their offense and the success that they've had there, at least offensively here in the second half. So that's somebody that the Diamondbacks really need to watch out for in that opposing starting lineup. But I really do not hate what the Diamondbacks are putting out there today. Obviously, Corbin Carroll leading off just feels right. I mean, his ability at times to just kick the game off with that pressure. I saw somebody talking about it in the chat. Pressure. That's what the Diamondbacks need to do. And a big part of that pressure involves patience at the plate. This is where the Diamondbacks are going to find if they can get anything up on Corbin Burnes, it's going to have to be with patience at the plate, because the more guys that can get on base, the more pressure that they can put, the more chaos they can create. That was their calling card early on in the season, and it needs to be their key to success in this series, to be honest. There's a good chance these are going to be fairly low-scoring games, and the Diamondbacks really need to find a way to generate offense in any way they can. I don't really think that power with the home runs has been there. Obviously, Christian Walker, Gabby Moreno, these are all guys that have shown their ability to absolutely ding, but I mean, I really feel like their key to success is the young guys, doing it the way they've been doing it all year, which is getting on base and creating that chaos.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we talked about it at length yesterday. It's like it's the great equalizer.
Yeah,
is the youth and the chaos.
Yeah.
And so I think, if HWL is saying it, pressure, run, steal. Like that's how you're gonna make things equal. Like that's how you're gonna. Even if if their pitching is dominant, that's how you kind of equalize that. You make the pitching uncomfortable as you get on base and you create chaos.
Yeah.
There's a whole reason that's why they were so successful in the first half of the year. And if they can do that again, they're going to be successful in the playoffs.
Look, Michael Rokicki has said this before, but he's absolutely correct. If Edge can show up on AEW, anything is possible. And here's the thing. Edge didn't just show up on AEW. Edge showed up with his moniker, the Rated R Superstar. Edge showed up with that damn song by Metalingus. He showed up with everything. WWE absolutely dropped the ball. And who saw that coming? Nobody. Why? Because he's an aging superstar, and they weren't keeping their eye on him. And again, I don't know how to relay this back to the Diamondbacks, but there's a lot of aging superstars on both teams that both teams need to keep an eye on. I'm just still flabbergasted that the Diamondbacks dropped the ball on that. That's a whole other thing. And Pedro's right. It is Adam now. We don't call him Edge anymore. So thank you. Respect to all wrestlers out there, by the way. JJ, huge wrestling fan. He gets all of these references. We love you guys. We thank you guys for being here right now on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. We are about 18 minutes away from first pitch, so make sure to keep your eye on the clock. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our wonderful shows on the network go live. Leave us a little thumbs up. We appreciate you guys being here. And of course, this is our first pregame show that we've ever done. So, of course, give us a thumbs up just for the first pregame show in D-backs history. But also, if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, we love the feedback. So make sure to leave us a review. 5-star reviews instantly give you a chance to win my heart. I mean, not
I don't know
really.
where that was going.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to give away a prize, but I don't really have anything left to give away. I gave away all the giveaway stuff this year. But of course, make sure to leave us a review and subscribe on the audio podcasting side. If you haven't become a diehard yet, make sure to do so now. Now is an absolutely great time because you can support this wagon with our brand new wagon shirt. And of course, you can get that shirt as part of your new diehard membership. You'll get a brand new piece of merchandise from the PHNXlocker.com. You also get 20% off all future purchases. You get access to our members-only Discord lounge and so much more, including discounts with our partners. This incredible shirt could be yours for absolutely free for signing up for that membership. Of course, like I said, discounts with our partners. You get access to all of our content and all sorts of other wonderful stuff. So you also get 20% off all future purchases. So if you are a diehard, go get this shirt right now for 20% off. I don't know what you're waiting for. Everybody was wearing it around the office. It made me really jealous. This guy had his Serpientes jersey on, so he matched with them. That made me jealous. I'm here in my Michael Myers Halloween shirt because it's spooky season. But
Leah just ordered her wagon shirt.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my wagon shirt. It's
Be like Leah. Order
a
wagon shirt.
Yeah, she got hers. So yeah, go get yours right now. But speaking of a wagon, the reason why this Diamondbacks team is a wagon is those young guys that you were talking about, right? The youth movement. And honestly, lately, it goes on both sides of the ball a little bit because Brandon Pfaadt has been a big reason why the Diamondbacks were able to make it to the postseason. Yeah. Andrew Saalfrank, 10 games, no runs, 0.00 earned run average, a 1.065 whip. Pitching, some of these young guys have been just absolutely incredible. But we know the guys leading the way. Obviously, it is our Roy. It is Roy, life well lived. Corbin Carroll. I just
watched that episode again.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. Yeah. But yeah, Corbin Carroll with his 285 batting average and 868 OPS really does need to be the guy, right? Like, I mean, not the sole provider, but like especially leading off, I feel like Corbin Carroll needs to set the tone that this is gonna be a problem for you guys tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about making this really good pitching staff uncomfortable, and you can do that by starting fast, and obviously that starts at the leadoff hitter, which is Corbin Carroll. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. It quite literally starts with Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll is going to be the first Arizona Diamondback to take the field in these playoffs. So let's fucking go, Corbin. You got it. He's gonna have to. I mean, he's just really going to have to keep being Corbin Carroll. Like, he was already arguably the best player on this team this year. He's just got to keep being that. Yeah. And I think this team will be in a pretty good place.
Gabby Moreno, another guy that needs to keep being himself, keep being Gabby Moreno. I mean, a lot of compliments. Zach Gallen complimented him on being behind the plate. Yeah, there's a video. We have a short that Jesse took. Zach Gallen loves Gabby Moreno, as we all do.
I also love Gabby Moreno. Mr. Diamondback.
He is. He's Mr. Diamondback.
Build a statue.
And Mr. Diamondback, since August 13th, has been slashing 311, 382, 496 with an 878 OPS. That's since returning from injury. So Gabby has been just a huge part of this team. In that time frame, the Diamondbacks are 22-15. And in fact, the Diamondbacks do have a winning record with Gabriel Moreno in the lineup and a losing record without him. So he really has been Mr. Diamondback.
He is.
And I do a little bartending on the side as a side gig. So we have a video coming up on YouTube where you'll see me kind of giving out a little bit of an analysis on that Gabriel Moreno Lourdes Gurriel trade to Toronto Blue Jays for Dalton Varsho, which we absolutely Won. There's no doubt about it.
We both won.
We both won, but
both in the playoffs.
But really, we won.
Yeah, we won.
A guy that's been a topic a lot about possibly having been traded at the trade deadline is Alec Thomas.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine a world defensively where Alec Thomas isn't in center field for this team. I don't want to imagine the world.
We've already seen in these playoffs how important defense is.
Yeah.
It really hurt Tampa today against the Rangers.
They had like 5 errors on one play.
And I mean, so how often in the postseason, especially, do you see massive defensive plays? I mean, I think about Andrew Benintendi for the Red Sox ending the series against the Astros with like a great diving catch in left field. Yeah. Defense is obviously huge, and when the margin for error is so much thinner than like it is in the postseason, like it becomes that much bigger. And Alec Thomas is the best defensive player on the field when he's on the field.
He's just incredible.
So I'm obviously now very glad that he wasn't traded. And I mean, obviously, whenever you can get something offensively from Alec Thomas, like you're probably going to win games.
That's what they need.
But at the very least, him being defensively as great as he's been is going to be big for this team.
Yeah, they need Alec Thomas to show up. His offensive numbers haven't been great this season, and honestly, that's completely fine. I mean, the Diamondbacks. The one thing about it is the Diamondbacks don't need everybody producing offensively, and as much as we sometimes get down on Alec. I feel like his defense more than makes up for it. And I don't even feel like he gets credit. Like you look at his defensive runs saved, and he doesn't seem to have as nearly many as we feel. I mean,
you look at the stats, and he's not as good as Lourdes Gurriel.
Yeah. It's wild. Lourdes Gurriel and Gabby Moreno are 2 of the team leaders. And again, that's why it makes that trade look great. But Dalton Varsho, by the way, leads all of Major League Baseball with 27 defensive runs saved himself. He has more defensive runs saved, by the way, than like half the league do as a team. That's just something that's true. Cool. That's an actual fact.
Cool, Dalton.
Yeah, I hate to tell you that, but
great.
He's still an incredible player. But anyway, I did want to give you, before we get out of here, a little same game parlay action. Of course, you guys know I'm a same game parlay guy, and I might be going again with some little, might call these some little easy same game parlay, but I put together a little 5-leg parlay for you.
For the record, Derek doesn't mess around with his parlays. He came up to me with a 10-leg parlay, and I said that's not going to fit in the graphic.
Yeah, basically
Derek.
he told me it didn't fit in the graphic. That's the real one that I really bet on, but I also threw.
Maybe put that in the Discord.
Yeah, I threw the $5 on this one, and honestly, they had a postseason on BetMGM. They had a postseason parlay insurance up to $5. So if I lose this, I'm still getting my money back. I went with the Diamondbacks win. I went with the total runs at under 8.5 because I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Batters struck out Corbin Burns 4+, Brandon Pfaadt 3+, and then I went with total bases Corbin Carroll 1+. That actually extended the odds more than I thought.
I was going to say, I'm surprised that boosted the odds at all.
It really did, and I was surprised because the total bases thing is just a safe bet for me. Like if you have a good player and you can go 1+ or 2+ total bases, and it's going to give you decent odds, then that's going to.
There was a time when they were giving us Geraldo Perdomo bases at plus money, and it was just a lock. Yeah. Like it was just anytime you would deposit $20 into the account just to double it.
So get down on the BetMGM Sportsbook application. Use our promo code of PHNX. All you got to do, and this is huge, just get in there, put $10 down, place your first bet on a standard bets wager at $10, and you will get $200 back in free money, bonus bets if you're a brand new customer. Just got to get down on that immediately. That promotions like this don't last very long. No. So make sure you don't miss out on your chance at BetMGM, and make sure you use that code of PHNX. But I am ready. My body is ready. My soul is ready. Let's fucking go. Derek. I am ready.
Everything is possible right now. Anything is possible. We can win 6 straight. How many games you got to win to win the World Series?
I don't know anymore.
2,
because
and then 5, and then
well, no, not 5, no 4.
Or 2, then 3.
3, and then 4.
And then 4.
And then 4.
And then
so that's what's that? 13,
8,
15?
And then
15 games?
13 games?
I don't know. We're bad at math. This is why we need Jesse.
You got to win 13 games. You got to win 2 here.
Yeah.
3 in the next one.
4 in the CS,
which is 9,
and then 4 in the
or 14, and then 4. Yeah, so 18.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
15? That was not.
Oh wow! I just did the worst maths possible.
That was terrible.
Listen,
look, we're baseball guys. We're not mathematicians.
2 games
here.
and then 3 games. So that's 5.
Yeah.
Then you got to win 4, so that's 9.
Yeah.
Then you got to win another 4, which is 13.
13. And
that's it. So 13 games.
13 games. Yeah.
It's the Yoffs. We don't need math in the Yoffs.
We did it.
I just want to say it's all. You know what else isn't bad math?
What's that?
Corbin Carroll 1.5 over hits plus runs plus RBI. I took it on the PHNX _bets show. Follow us on all social media. Hit that like button.
Live every day.
Let's
Monday
go.
through.
Live every day.
Let's go. Don't miss Damon Dog over there.
Well,
He's the people's producer.
Live Monday through Wednesday, and then Friday and Saturday, or Friday and Sunday, right?
Yep. Today's sign off was peace, love, and Corbin barrels. So I think it's happening.
All right.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that.
Damon
support.
spoke, and
and
the
he's
baseball
got the
gods
stash.
will listen.
I mean, it has to happen now.
You don't ignore a man with a mustache.
You really don't. You really don't. You just listen.
The most trustworthy people ever.
Yeah.
There's no negative stereotypes attached to men with just mustaches.
Not at all. Not at all. But anyway, we appreciate you guys so much, of course, for being here for our pregame show. And guess what? We're not done. We're going to go watch some baseball and scream a lot. And then we'll see if I'm
already. Throat's already hurt.
Yeah, it's not going to be. He's not going to make it. We're going to check our stamina, but we'll figure things out.
JJ.
We'll be back with our post-game show. Jesse will join us from American Family Field in Milwaukee, and of course, we will. And for some reason, it's so easy for me to remember, even though I absolutely shouldn't remember it. But yeah, let's fucking go. I'm with all of you.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Hey,
Marcus Valencia says, I'm back. Let's fucking
Yoffs.
go, D-backs. It's the Yoffs.
It's the Yoffs.
And we are a wagon.
And no one circles the wagons like the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Let's go. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. This maniac is at Shawn_DePaz. The people's producer, the maniac behind the Mac, is Damon. We are Damon's dogs. Of course, you can follow him at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Our show is at PHNX D-backs. Make sure to follow us for all the fun shenanigans we're going to be having throughout the playoffs. And of course, all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you're in the goddamn offs.
It's the off!